Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be talking about how you can master any skill that you want. And so this is a very interesting topic because I don't think most people actually struggle with the understanding of being able to master a skill. It's more so about the execution and staying disciplined to getting to that skill. And so there's a very common saying that you need to spend 10,000 hours in order to actually be able to achieve any skill or be an expert at that field. That's ground rules, right? You need to be able to dedicate time, you need to be consistent, and you need to be able to stay with it over the course of many years. One of the things that most people don't understand is something called the Dunning-Kruger effect. And this is basically saying that beginners think that they know more than they actually do, while experts think that they know less than they actually do. There's a recent study that was conducted where drivers were surveyed based off of how good of a driver they thought they were compared to other drivers. And not surprisingly, over 80% of them said that they were better than average, which is just not the case. And that's because a lot of people overestimate their current capabilities and they just don't understand what they don't know, right? And so when you're starting to develop any skill set, it's very easy for you to start looking at something and within the first week or month or so, you you feel like you've become an expert. There's so much new knowledge that's coming in and you feel like it's something that is making you smarter. And yes, it definitely is, but the field, the skill set you're trying to build is going to be so much more deeper than exactly what you were just looking at. So this kind of brings into another point, which is kind of the understanding curve in terms of skill development. When a lot of people start with any type of skill, as I mentioned, they start very, very high up in terms of their emotional state, where they feel like they've understood a lot. And this stage is called uninformed optimism. This is actually something that I took from Alex Hormozy. Basically, what it is when you start out with a skill, you become so infatuated with the idea. You do all the research, everything looks good on paper. You feel like you understand everything that's going on. And once you try to explore it, then everything kind of comes crashing down. You face a lot of roadblocks, you face a lot of problems. Maybe it's hard to actually see that you're not as good as you think you were. And that is called the Valley of Despair in the Dunning-Kruger effect. And within this context, it's also called informed pessimism. So now once you've actually gone through the trials and you try, you dig deeper into whatever you're trying to do and whatever you're trying to understand, you get to a point where you kind of understand the full picture and you understand that there's more to everything that meets the eye. There's more problems you have, the more challenges that you're trying to face. And this is where most people quit. And that's why it's so hard for a lot of people to kind of stick to things. Just because I feel like nowadays, a lot of people just have very short-term gratification and they're not able to see the long term. There's something called the marshmallow test that they did with young students around like 5 to 10 years old. And what they did was they gave every single student one marshmallow and told them that they could either wait an hour and get two, or they could eat it right now immediately. And so the students or the kids who were able to delay that gratification and eat the marshmallow after an hour, they found that they were more successful later on in life. Kind of goes to show that delayed gratification and working through any type of temptation to stray away or any distraction is going to help you a lot in terms of setting goals in your life and being able to achieve something. So back to the main point, talking about how most people aren't able to be accountable for this entire time. How do you prevent that from happening? Well, the first thing that you need to do is understand how you're going to break down developing a skill set or trying a new venture, right? So you need to be able to create a system. So how do you create a system? Well, now it's kind of breaking down everything into chunks and understand what it takes every single step along the way and what you could feasibly do as an input in order to achieve your new skill set, your new goal, your new venture, whatever you're trying to do. So for example, if you want to start trying to lose weight, right, you could try breaking down this goal into multiple different categories. Usually I would recommend 3 categories. The first category might just be exercise, right? So that's going to the gym, that's doing more cardio, etc. The second bucket might just be your diet or your nutrition. And then the third bucket might be your sleep, your lifestyle, everything outside the other 3 buckets. So now that you have these 3 platforms, you kind of can build a system behind how you're able to accomplish every single goal. And what you want to do is make these goals as action oriented and as small as possible. That way you could start building up the habits and actually sustainably pursue them for the long term. So for the gym, you might just say you're going to go to a gym for 5 minutes every single day. And that's what you start with. It might not seem like a lot, but as long as you're steady and you're consistent, eventually over 2 weeks, you might be able to increase that to 10 minutes. And then after half a year, it might be all the way up to like an hour. But especially when you begin, you just want to have systems and methods in place to make sure that you're going to be able to achieve and develop this goal. Because a lot of people fault, especially after the first 2-3 weeks when their life gets busy and they might not be as motivated anymore to develop this new skill or this new venture or new goal that they have. Another thing that you could do, especially within this category, is something called time blocking. And this is basically just saying that no matter what, every single day, you're going to dedicate this amount of time to this different activity. Some people, what I know they do is they always block a certain amount of time on their calendar for different tasks. And no matter what, they always move on to the next task, even if it might not be finished. And the reason for this is you're always kind of constraining yourself to an artificial deadline, which is going to increase your productivity and also allow you to focus on other things once your time is up. So it's almost like a form of strategic prioritization. Within this category as well, there's kind of a controversial method, but what a lot of people do is they would either do the task themselves or they would not do any task at all within that 1 hour time block. So let's say during that 1 hour block, you have to go to the gym, right, for that 1 hour. So what a lot of people do if they don't want to go to the gym is they might have some type of excuse and they might try to do something else, right? But instead, just force yourself to do absolutely nothing and sit there with boredom. Boredom is such a strong tool when it comes to delaying gratification and understanding, because now it's focusing, it makes your brain focus on something other than what's right in front of you. And eventually you're going to be so bored that you're going to want to go to the gym anyways, which is just a way to keep yourself on track. The other thing, and I've talked about this before, is just setting up the correct environment. You want the environment to be suitable towards conditions that would make it easier for you to actually achieve the goal that you're trying to do. So you want to be able to reduce as much friction as possible. And so, for example, with the gym, maybe it's not going to the gym and driving 20 minutes out of the way. Maybe it's having like a home setup or like a dedicated area within your house that you could easily walk to in 30 seconds, right? That's the power of environment. It automatically gears your brain in order to do the task, which makes it way easier to keep accountable in terms of your goals. Last thing is setting up an accountability partner. This one is going to be very, very crucial. You're always going to have some level of distraction or something that happens in your life. And having an accountability partner is going to be crucial in terms of keeping you on track towards your goals. Because truthfully speaking, there's going to be days that you don't know or you just don't feel like doing what you're doing. And that's perfectly okay. No one's ever going to have enough motivation, honestly, to be able to stick to a goal for an entire year. I totally understand that. But as long as you have the right system set up, and as long as you're taking the proper steps to create a system, an environment, having like accountability partners, and understanding that skill development and goal setting is a long-term aspiration, you're going to be okay. The last thing that I wanted to mention, I know this video is getting long, but the last thing that I wanted to mention is get mentors, right? Get people that have done it before you and have them help you reach your goals faster and overcome the milestones that they had to overcome, right? You want to learn from other people's mistakes, not your own. And a lot of people may say, I've reached out to other people and they just haven't given me the time of day, like they're experts, like how can I potentially go to them? You don't have to go to the person at the top of your field. You really just have to go to someone that's like maybe 1 or 2 years ahead of you. Why? Because first of all, they're going to be more available. They're going to understand your position more. And 3, they've been in your position more recently than the master has, right? If you're learning how to play guitar for the first time, you're not going to go to the guy who's playing guitar for 50 years. Yes, he'll be able to offer lessons, but then the guy who maybe has a year or 2 more experience can actually teach you more about the things in detail, right? Because he knows what it's like to be a beginner because he was a beginner recently, right? So mentors are a very powerful tool that will help you accelerate whatever endeavor you're pursuing. Highly recommend. Last piece of advice is to just take action. No matter what, every single day, try to do something, and no matter how small it is, see it as an accomplishment, right? It's always better to be able to try doing something one day rather than feeling like you're not going, and maybe the quality isn't as good as you think it is. For example, this video, right? What if I just decided I never wanted to post anything? That's not going to get me anywhere. And so when you're trying to achieve any type of goal or develop any type of skill set, you just got to you just got to show up for yourself every single day. And that's going to provide dividends for you in the future, no matter how little, no matter how small you think your contributions are to your skill bank. It's going to help out a lot. Thank you for watching this, and I will see you in the next video.